Hello and welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode 344. I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
I'm Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les. It's Wednesday, April something.
19th. I only know that because my kids were like, "Hey,
Tomorrow's
Miss
420.
Linneman, do you know what tomorrow is?" And I was like, "Your national holiday." Anyway, so
This all of furs, Humberto,
Sir Humberto El Gato Meow.
it's deciding he's a lap cat today.
Well, it's quieter than usual in this house because Pearl's over at the vet getting her first treatment for her heartworms, and she has to stay there overnight. So I can't pick her up till tomorrow at 5 after my doctor's appointment. So it's like puppy doctor appointments and my doctor appointments. So it's been a little bit hectic, and state testing started today. But anyway, we're going to talk about knitting. Would you like to go first?
Nope, because all I've got is knitting. I have nothing else to talk about.
Okay, well, I don't have much to talk about, but I am about to do my 3-needle bind off on my second shoulder for my worsted boxy. So this is what the front looks like. It's huge and it's very bright. So what I have left is this 3-needle bind off right here, which Humberto is apparently going to help with. And he did help already by stealing my ball of yarn today and running away with it. But that's a whole nother story. 3-needle bind off to do the top. And it's cool because it creates this, so on this boxy, there's this welted pattern at the top. And actually doing a 3-needle bind off at the top, how he's so smart, creates like a ridge. And that really works well with the welted pattern at the top. Plus it adds structure. So I'm about to do the second 3-needle bind off. Then I have the sleeves, and then I have the neckline. I have this much yarn, which will get me through the neckline, I think, after this 3-needle bind off. I have a little bit more from a swatch that I can break into if I need to. And then just this much for the sleeves, which makes me a little bit nervous. I haven't weighed it yet. My scale's in the other room. It's this big post office scale that'll do up to 200 pounds, which is super useful when you're processing fleece. But it's all the way in the kitchen, which is why it's in there for processing fleece, because that's where fleece gets washed. So this is what I have left. If I need to, I can purchase another skein, but I'm hoping that I will not need to do that. Because then I could have just made a larger size. Although I think this is going to be more than large enough, hopefully.
So
It's like in my blanket sweater. But I'm enjoying it immensely. And then the other thing that I have on my needles is, it actually hasn't gotten any love this week, but you hadn't seen it last week. So this past weekend, we went to the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, which is right where that wolf is. There we go, right there. And my dad and aunt and uncle went hiking, and Leslie and I sat at the picnic grounds by the river and chilled. And we decided, because I had this awesome bag from Amy Beth, that we should take an Amy Beth bag picture. So that's up on Instagram. Super cute. And I had my socks with me. So these are Dios de la Muerto. There you go. It's Day of the Dead. Colorway from Susan of, I can't remember anything. Desert Vista Dye Works. It's been a long day, y'all, filled with paperwork. So I have one repeat. That bright pink to pink is one repeat. It's done, but I need to finish the sweater so I can really start hauling on these socks. I think I'm going to take the socks with me to knit night tonight because they are much more portable. And I will work on those because tomorrow's the 20th. I'm down to 10 days. So really I need a hustle and flow. I could save the worsted boxy for Stash Dash. And we'll talk about Stash Dash a little bit later. But I'm not going to because I'm afraid it's already 85 here today. And I'm afraid if I don't finish this thing, I'm going to lose all mojo. The Penguins are in the playoffs though. So that gives me lots of knitting time. And once Pearl gets back tomorrow, she has to be like crated full time for a month. So I'll sit in my room with her and watch TV and knit. So hopefully I'll get lots of knitting done. And hopefully I'll get good news from the doctor tomorrow so that, like, I can get off crutches, which will lessen time it takes to do everything.
Been using the crutches.
I'm terrible about using my crutches. Today I was like hopping from place to place, and my children were like, Miss Linneman. And at one point I left the crutches up by the computer and I was sitting someplace else, and then I was stranded without. But I also have a rolly chair at work that I just roll myself. I scooch around with my other foot a lot, like a lot. So, anyway, I'm terrible with crutches. They just slow me down. But hopefully the news tomorrow will be non-tear news, and life will get better. And regardless, I won't wear my crutches. Oh, you're wearing your bracelet. That's super cute.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I have for knitting. So I'm really enjoying the boxy. If I hate how bright it is on me, I'm going to over dye it. That's Leslie's idea, which is a brilliant idea. I have a bazillion ends to weave in on it too. Anyway, so I gotta hustle and flow, people. It's almost how did it become the end of April already? I don't understand how this time thing works. I hear it's linear, but I don't know. Sometimes I feel like it's just speeding by. Alright, so I'm going to do my 3-needle bind off. And you have a sweater that you're working on as well, but yours is much more lightweight than mine.
It's, mine is a tank. And it's the Meraki tank. It's linked in the show notes. I've been working on it for a month or more. It's knit out of Plymouth Nettle Grove, which is a nettle, cotton, silk, flax blend. And it's at sort of an awkward place. So it's just sort of a tube right now. This gray tube. I have split for the underarms. And one side has a stockinette. It's just stockinette from the bust up to the shoulders with a keyhole detail in the center. And a button, and then the other side is a lace panel, although the lace panel written is a very simple mesh lace, and I'll probably do something a prettier lace pattern, but still keep it in there. I did cast on some extra stitches at the side of the underarm to make it a slightly longer sleeve. They're all bunched up here. So instead of it being a tank with no sleeves at all, it'll be like t-shirt length, maybe slightly shorter.
That'll be cute.
Because one thing fat girls are often conscious of is their giant upper arms, and I'm not much of an exception there. So I'm working on that. Like I said, it's split now at the underarm, so I'm working on. I can't tell you if it's the front or the back because you can change the way that you wear it. So
you can wear it with the. So is the lace in the back or the front?
The way
how it can be either way. So it's only on one side.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. It's knit in the round up to the underarm split, and then it's knit separately, which of course it would have to be unless you steek it. And then one half is stockinette with a keyhole panel, and that's in the same color as the body, and then the other half is in a contrasting color with a lace pattern. And I'll probably change the lace pattern just because I want something slightly prettier, but and then the only other thing I'm working on are my Desert Vista Dye Works April socks. This is out of the Lightning Struck Heart colorway, which are 3 different blues. Sock number 1 has been finished for about a week. I think I showed you this last week, and had just started sock number 2. And I'm on the heel flap of sock number 2 now.
So you're doing just a plain heel flap.
I'm doing top down 72 stitches, slip stitch heel flap, round heel, gusset, simple Kitchener at the end.
Yeah.
It's the easiest one for me to do. The only time I have to look up a number is when I'm turning the heel, and I've almost got that memorized.
I just go to like 2 stitches past the center point.
It's something like that. It's 2 or 3 stitches past the center point, and then like 6 stitch
SSK,
slip one and 6
one,
or 7 back,
then,
something like that.
I just count so that it's even on either side. And sometimes that counting fails.
Yeah, sometimes even when I'm looking up the numbers it fails because I'll forget to slip a stitch at the end or at the beginning, and so I just make it up when I'm turning the heel or when I'm doing the gusset. And that's on Nova Platina, size 2.25 millimeter.
Are you enjoying your Nova Platinas?
I've been using them for a while. In fact, I've like rubbed a spot completely brass.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you have.
Because it's where my finger always rests. But, yeah, I like them. They're pointy. I like those, and the Hiya is probably the best. And the sock rockets, I like those too.
I like the sock rockets a lot.
But that's all the crafting I've done this week. Friday and Monday were mostly driving days. And Saturday and Sunday, I mostly spent trying to learn a long arm quilter. And failing miserably, and then picking out stitches, and then failing miserably, and then picking out stitches.
So there's a learning curve with that.
There is. And it's, I got to a point where I stopped checking my work, and like after 20 minutes free motion quilting at home, my patch would be like 7 inches square. And 20 minutes free motion quilting on a long arm is like 10 inches by 60 inches.
Yeah.
So
it goes a lot faster.
I should have thought about that and cut my checking time to like 2 minutes to like just check and make sure everything's the way it should, because it looks great on top, and then the bobbin tension was all out of whack. So you can see the thread colors are different because the top and the back are anyway. For quilting people that don't quilt, that you don't care, but it's like getting ladders in your knitting. Yeah. Very obvious ladders that even a non-knitter would see.
Well, I would think it's more like gutters where you can see them a lot on the back, maybe, or would you still consider it like ladders?
I don't know. To me, it's too obvious, and even for myself, I wouldn't leave it like that.
Okay.
And it's a gift, so I'm definitely not leaving it like that. So I've got to pick it out, but not until I get air conditioning, because I'm not putting my quilting all up until then. So
that's a good thought. But you got the quilt pinned. I
did get it pinned out, which was helpful. And I got time to browse Mama Linneman's library with some really good. I got a couple of really good recommendations on quilting books that would work for me doing this on a home machine.
Yeah.
And I do have a question for anybody who I've looked at quilting setups. Because having a Knit Girls business, we can sometimes get equipment, and that's helpful. So I've looked at quilting frames and a long arm, and they're just ridiculous. I mean, I don't want to say they're ridiculous. They're a lot more than I'm willing to use business funds for.
I would say that they're an investment for more towards like a business investment. Like if you're going to quilt, but if you're quilting like all the time and you're quilting other people's quilts for them,
or
as
if
a business,
quilting was my only craft.
Yeah, or if we didn't have spinning and all the things that you do.
There's
in
this
addition.
This guy who makes and sells his frames on Etsy, and I think he used to sell them on eBay, Kenneth Lund. It's this home system of free motion quilting. And I just wondered if anybody of our viewers might have it and have any like positive or negative feedback on it.
Yeah,
because
no, I think that's
it's
important.
really hard. I can't Google really on it because all it comes up with is that guy.
Yeah, there's no like consumer reports, reviews on quilting equipment.
So for the home quilter, if anybody owns one of the Kenneth Lund quilting frames, I'm curious as to
or
what
if they have a frame that they really like, would that be a good thing to...
I'm not willing to invest 4 figures into a frame.
Okay.
I'm just not. I would rather do it by hand on my home frame. But the Etsy one that I've been looking at is like $160 or something. So it's very doable, but I don't want to waste money on it because I got the Flynn quilting system, which is like big red tubes, and you're supposed to sort of float it on there. It didn't work at all for me. So,
okay. And it's not just a money consideration; it's also a space consideration because
these things take up a lot of time, of space rather. And I don't have a lot of flat wall space in my house.
You don't. So Leslie's walls are all kind of angled.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Especially upstairs. Yeah. So it makes it a little bit harder to like she can't have bookshelves up there.
Yeah.
On like 2 of her main walls just because they're angled so that the max straight vertical height is like 4 foot.
Ah!
Did he just claw you?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're killing my jeans, dude. Alright,
he's kind of a jerk.
That's it for me for quilting.
Okay.
You want to talk about other stuff?
So we've been reading some reading. I started a new series on Kindle Unlimited called Moon Tortured. It's by Mackenzie Hunter. It's really interesting. It's a little bit angsty for my taste. Like, it kind of goes towards that Twilight angst a little bit without the romance. Like, oh, I'm a weird person and I don't like being a weird person. It's terrible. But overall, it's decent. If you have like a teenager who's into a little bit more angst. And that's funny because that's one of my, sorry, y'all, I have allergies really bad today. That's one of, like, my pet peeves are angsty female protagonists that whine a lot. So I'm not quite certain why I'm still reading this series, but I enjoyed the first one. It redeemed itself. The second one, though, is switching points of view, and it's not doing it very well. So I think I'm gonna try to get through the rest of this and then go from there. I have 5 days left on I renew my Kindle Unlimited, like, it renews on the 25th.
Oh, okay.
So it's not something that I leave turned on all the time. I typically, like, turn it on for a month, pay the, what is it, $9.99,
Mm-hmm.
and then turn it off for a couple of months until the authors that I like publish more books, and then I'll turn it back on. So, because a lot of the Kindle Unlimited people publish very quickly, like every 3 months or so. So I am I think I'm okay with turning it off at this point. Although my library books, I don't have a whole lot on hold right now either. I don't know. I'm meh on reading right now. So the new Rick Riordan will change that when it comes out at the end of May, I think. I think it comes out in May. Anyway. That's basically all I've been reading. Again, meh. We listened to an Car Talk audiobook, though, that was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like a 1 hour highlights, but my local library had it.
And
for
it was
download.
like science and
yeah, it was like the science
something.
and engineering aspects of Car Talk, which is one of my favorite NPR programs. So that was decent. We tried Norse Gods by Neil Gaiman on audiobook, and he reads it, and it just wasn't working for us at that point in time.
It's a little too bedtime story for a car ride.
Yeah,
like
it was puts you to sleep. But that's about it reading wise for me. What have you been reading?
Nothing with any contribution to society. I've been reading Jennifer Ashley's Mackenzie's and McBride's Scottish clan series set in like the mid 19th century.
It's really well done for a historical romance, though, and she brings in protagonists that are more interesting and more diverse. Like, one of the main characters, I would say, is autistic.
Mm-hmm.
So
the first book is The Madness of Lord Ian Mackenzie. And
yeah, so it goes into a little bit of history of how that was treated.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think they're a little bit more diverse.
And the female characters aren't helpless little princesses. So that's always a nice change. But yeah, I've just been reading kind of fluff because my house is hot and I've been sort of just wanting to sleep mostly.
That's what happens when I get warm. I just want to sleep all the time. So moving on, Stash Dash. Stash Dash starts in May. It is like May 26th, I want to say. Let's take a look. There is a thread on Ravelry.
Excuse me.
That is kind of like a voting / ooh, people have been posting there. Good. Yes, I like that. So there's a proposed Stash Dash rule change thread. So one where you can vote. People are just proposing like different things and we can vote on them. There's 3 polls up currently and there's been 10 posts since I last read it a couple days ago. So actually yesterday. So you can vote in there, and towards the end I will definitely take those into consideration. I want it to be more of a community event, so if you have a suggestion, just let us know. So there's 3. There's one about hand sewing, finishing, counting. That's Jasmine of the Knitmores. Really wants that to count, so I told her I would open it to the community. The second is spinning has been a big dilemma the past couple of years, so there's a rule change on that for consideration. And there's also one about adding a lower level. So right now the lowest level for Stash Dash is a 3K. There's a poll up there to add like a 1K so that people can participate that might not have as much crafting time, or might have big events going on in the summer. So those are up there. Let me pull up my calendar. The Stash Dash will start May 26th. So it's actually on my my calendar on my computer. So May 26th will be the first day of Stash Dash. I am up for, usually we end around August 15th. This past year we went a little bit later because of the Olympics and we were double dipping. So the 15th is actually Tuesday. I might go through the 20th so it gives the people time to post on the weekend. So I'm going to read some of the proposed threads there and we'll take them into consideration. So that's exciting. I'm excited to get y'all's feedback on Stash Dash because it is a community event. And for those of you who are not familiar with Stash Dash is our annual kind of craft all the things race that we do. So and feel free to jump in at any time. I know it's
Stash Dash is you. But...
I know it's my crazy, but if you have anything to put in, Stash Dash started as an event for me. Actually, the first one was me trying to get down 50 skeins in my stash over the summer, and it's kind of evolved from there. So you can use works in progress and finish them up. It's a meters-based competition. And there's different levels. It looks like there's going to be a 1K this year, which is exciting. 3, 5, 7, 10, and 15 is going to stay the highest. I'm not going to go past 15. So, but you, like, if once you hit a mark, you can continue posting. There's lots of, I hate adding rules, but there's lots of rules with Stash Dash, and we will discuss that in greater detail coming up. Some people hold off finishing until after the beginning of Stash Dash. I'm not one of those people. Like, for me, it's a competition to whittle down my stash. So I try to, now if I finish something, don't get me wrong, I'm going to count it. But, I try to not, I lose mojo on big projects if I'm hoarding them. So I try to finish stuff as it comes. I think that's about it. What else do we have to talk about?
In the end, it's just a competition with yourself.
Oh, yeah. It's totally a competition with yourself. It's not with anyone else.
We do give away some prizes, but, you know, it's for the number of people that we have compete, I would say one prize for every, 100 or 150 people.
I think we had over, man, we had a lot last year. I think we had over 1,000 finishers last year. I should track stats. I'm also back in the House Cup. Yes. So I'm back doing Harry Potter House Cup. I'm going to be the first person to do an owl. That's like they added
a specific owl.
A specific owl. So they added an art yarn spinning owl a couple terms ago.
And an owl is like a specific goal that's supposed to be difficult to accomplish in a certain amount of time.
So, it's more art yarn. So I pulled out my Sarah Anderson book, which has not necessarily art yarn, but it has some more interesting ply structures. So I think I'm going to propose that this term, if everything goes according to plan. I've asked for some clarification on some rules. So one of the aspects of this owl is you have to spin 100 yards of each structure. So 100 yards of correspond would be like spinning 100 yards finished skein. But if you spin the core too, does that count? Would you only need 50 yards? So see, I need some clarification on some things. So we're going to...
And some of those more textured yarns are a pain in the behind. So spinning 25 yards is one thing, and spinning 100 yards is a whole nother animal.
And that's the thing, super coils. So you spin a single, and then you basically core spin that single around another single and scrunch it. So to get 100 yards, you might need 800 yards of singles. Well, you've spun 8, so should the singles yardage count? 100 yards, and then you have a finished skein of like 5 yards, or so I'm getting some clarifications because the yardage aspects on it for art yarn is like, I would love to course spin Christmas lights, but I'm not going to get 100 yards of course spin Christmas lights. Like, I've already given up on that. Like, I know that that's not going to count. So that ship has sailed. Anyway, so hopefully my knee also will be healed so I can actually do this. Not on the mini spinner too, because that's like a whole nother fish. Anyway, I think that's about it for today. We have not forgotten about our Patreon people. We're just not on that computer because we're still at my house. But hopefully the doctor will give me a, hey, you're awesome and can walk upstairs thing. And then we can go to Leslie's house to record, and she'll have her Patreon spreadsheet. So we haven't forgotten about you guys, and thank you guys so much, those of you who contribute to Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
It is super awesome. So we really appreciate y'all. And this way, like, pulling later, I don't feel like I'm super behind on the spinning for the prizes, too. Even though I am. All right, so we will pull for that. Yeah, we apologize for it being late.
We have the spreadsheet, so it's not like if you donated then and you stop donating, you won't be eligible for it.
Yeah.
It's separate, so you don't have to worry about that. But I think that's it. I'm hot and sweaty, and I want a nap, so...
We will see y'all later. Have a good week.
And we'll talk to you this week.
Probably Sunday.
Maybe we'll even get it recorded on the right day.
Ooh.
We'll see.
Fancy. Bye, y'all.